Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Better.
Really?
Better. Yeah. Maybe see you later.
You gonna be there today?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
You were back at work the next day, right?
That's what Brad told me. More or less.
They put a hospital bed in his office. Just
Yeah.
gonna.
All right, it's official. You ready?
Yep, thanks.
Okay. So this will be November and the December meeting, so we probably won't get together again until next year. But I just want to close out and get an idea what was going on. So with that, we'll call the meeting to order, and Child and Youth Service Committee will go around the room. Chris Rogers, County Board.
Janae Pancook, Operation Youth Success.
Mark LaFleur, Douglas County Youth Center.
Brad Alexander, Douglas County Youth Center.
Rodney Woodard, Douglas County Youth Center.
Kimbo Lowe, Douglas County Clerk Comptroller.
Diane Carlson, County Administration.
Patrick Bloomingdale, County Administrator.
Sean Fair, Juvenile Assessment Center.
Clerk Duda with the County Board.
All right. Brad.
If anybody would like copies of this report, our printer is acting up, so I wasn't able to print these off this morning. So, but email me if you'd like copies of it. So we've had 6 students earn their diplomas in 2018. We had a parent-teachers conference in September, and we had 28 kids with parents that represented them at the parent-teachers conference, which was really nice to see.
28 out of, so it's like
And at that point in time, there was probably mid-70s, I suppose. So
about a third of them.
oh, at least a third, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
And some of them wouldn't qualify for a parent-teacher conference. You
That's
have to be
right.
there at least 30 days
Oh,
to
all right.
get enough
That's a good
information to
point.
do.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
We conducted a career fair on September 21st as well, and we had 14 employers, potential future employers, show up and spend time with the kids and expose them to some opportunities that they may have not otherwise considered. And they are given instructions on how to apply and work towards gaining employment. We continue to do the Dusk to Dawn, that's the youth violence prevention program. Each week a different unit gets an opportunity to participate in that program. So that continues to go on weekly. The program is growing in the community, and so the people that conduct the program are actually getting stretched kind of thin, so they're talking to us now about having some of our staff get trained to actually conduct the program. And I'd have to talk to some people because what they want to do is train them, so they would do that in their off time, and then these people would actually compensate them for that. So I'm not sure how that would work, if it would be like a second job, because they would also like for these people to do things out in the community as well. The U-Turn program continues to meet. We've actually gotten 7 living units through that program now. That's the gang prevention program. Our average daily population to date through the end of November 2018 is 79. And I'm going to say that the length of stay is 50, but that's not accurate. We were on the phone this morning actually with .com trying to get them. They gave us the length of stay for the kids on probation, the kids in adult court, those specific categories. But they weren't able to give us the roll-up, and that 50 number that I report is the roll-up. So, but that's actually going to be down significantly from that 50 number, I think. But what the specific areas of length of stay are the juveniles that are not on probation, and in October that number was 46. The length of stay for the kids that are on probation was 36, and the length of stay for the kids that are in adult court is 95. And again, we couldn't get the roll-up that combines all those numbers together to tell us what the length of stay is overall. But we will. Also, we're working, like we've talked, we're working to be able to track length of stay, to include those kids that are there less than 24 hours. Because it seems like when we look at other jurisdictions, that's how they track that. And so that might be a fairer comparison. But Commissioner Borgeson, I think, asked at the board meeting that we continue to track the length of stay that we do now so that we have a trend line going forward based on the information that we have.
Wouldn't that also, though, I mean, that's gonna make your population look larger if you start counting kids that currently aren't being counted.
The average daily population will remain the same.
All right.
But what will happen is, like when we were in Minneapolis, the one gentleman, I can't remember which facility we were at now, but had made the comment that if, once he understood how we were tracking length of stay, he made the comment that their length of stay would probably be somewhat similar to ours if they were doing that
All right.
as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Because they were, I mean, literally the kids that were booked and released, I mean, they would count that as an hour. And so that's what we're struggling with now, because we would count that as a day. So we got to get the program to be able to calculate in hours.
Do you need a more robust number system?
We
'Cause I
got
hear
to,
that kind of
your information is accurate. It is somewhat old. We brought Wayne over.
What's the modern deal that?
Well, we kept on, we've been holding out for the offender management system, which was going to provide opportunities to pull data in a variety of ways that we may or may not be able to do now. In those cases where we can do it now, it's labor intensive. So we've been kind of holding out for that. I can tell you that Wayne, the guy we brought over from corrections, I've asked him for things that, no offense to anybody here, would have taken days, and he literally turned it around in one case in like 10 minutes.
We're currently using that system,
Yeah.
so we're doing all our
Your
intakes
offender
on,
management
yeah,
system?
on both systems.
The
So
thing
that's
is,
where he's able to get those numbers from immediately, because we're dual booking on the OMS system and the IMS system.
What's IMS? I mean, I've heard, but I don't know.
Information management service.
Okay. What's so special about the old, I'm just curious, the OMS that makes it?
it's more geared for detention, corrections is geared like more in that line. The challenge is for us is, you know, we're using a corrections format and using it for detention, so we have to make some adjustments to the system to get it, most of the things. But Wayne's skill set gives us a pathway to get to that. You know, we also took a look at a right track juvenile management system. I think that's what you guys use over at the JAC. So, you know, we've gone through a demo and looked at some of that, but a lot of those things are similar to what's in the offender management system. So we're just trying to figure out how to best extract that data, and Wayne has been fantastic with that. So the OMS system may actually turn out to be the reporting system that we can use to update.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope. Right now, we're doing a lot of it manually.
Oh, so you got IMS,
Correct.
Correct.
but OMS would be better. And he's making IMS work a little better for you all, but OMS would be ideal.
Well, we're connected with OMS right now.
Okay.
So
It hasn't went live. If they got a live date, go live.
No, we don't have a go live day, but we are using the system right now, so we are using it live, and he's pulling a lot of his reports out of that system. So that's why you get them so
So
quick.
information's being
Yes,
entered in.
that's how you're getting them quick, because he can go into OMS and,
Information's being entered in there, it's just not live yet.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right.
once it will benefit us as far as the reporting. It gives us more pathways to understand the data that we've got.
So are you all able to give a daily report like adult does?
It depends on what it is that we're looking for. I mean, we get information
Yeah, I mean,
daily.
yeah, we can do that.
All right, I like to see it. I mean, at least I can, in the morning, I can look at adults and say, okay, they're 91%, and get a feel and
Yeah.
do it. I mean, if you all can do it,
Yeah, he can send it out in
Or
an
the
email
report.
every morning.
So you want like a
Talk to him about
status
that.
report?
I think yours is gonna be different than adult because of everything that comes with that kid that's there, but, I mean, I'd like to see some daily
Kind of like an
deal
overview.
like they do. I mean, I can, I'll forward you what's on my phone that they send in the morning.
Okay.
I mean, theirs gives you people on pretrial, the
Yep.
number of people in these units, stuff like that, and then
Number
a
of
total
juvenile
number for
court.
the day.
Adult court, sure.
Yeah, he currently has 3 reports that
Yeah.
he sends out every morning generally.
Okay, now I used to see his name on that adult report, so he should know it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
Okay.
think we're getting, I think he built the same report for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Go ahead.
Remember to get
Okay.
that. Okay.
We already used it. You guys don't get it.
The kids that are in, that are adjudicated, pre-adjudicated, that would refer to those kids that are in juvenile court, and the kids that are pretrial and sentenced would be kids that are, in adult court. Again, please, I apologize for not having the handouts. I wished our printer was working this morning, but feel free to email me and I'll be happy to send this out.
If you
But the
wanna-
interesting thing, I'm sorry.
If you want to email it to me, I can
I
post
will.
it for everyone.
Yep, that'd be perfect, thank you. The interesting thing about what you see in this report is in 2015, essentially, 2014 to 2015, is when the kids, and I know I'm probably repeating myself, but the Class 3, Class 4 felonies were required to start in juvenile court. And so at that point, in 2014, we had 228 kids that were pretrial in adult court. In 2015, that number dropped to 73 because of that legislation. You see that number pick up on the pre-adjudicated side on the juvenile court, so it's clear what happened there. But what's interesting here is that we had 73 in 2015. We have we're anticipating we're going to have 125 kids that are filed directly in adult court in 2018, and that's a 71% increase from 2015. And again, with the delinquent status, misdemeanor, and of course we have no status offenders, haven't since 2013. But the felonies, again, due to that legislation back in 2014-15, dropped from 178 in 2014 to 62 in 2015, and we're forecasting 115 this year, 2018, and that's a 62%, or excuse me, 85% increase.
100 is how many?
We're anticipating 115
And these are what again?
kids that are charged with coming in with felonies.
And these are the ones that have the longest stay.
Correct.
Statistically.
Yes, sir. The reasons for admissions, the new charges through the end of October. New charges represent 49% of our admissions. The capious unlawful absences, those kids that are on probation, that's 23%. And then the violation of probation is 16%. So those three categories alone represent 87% of our admissions. 8%, the other 8% being juvenile court holds, 4% for failure to appear in juvenile court, and then 1% for failure to appear in county court.
So almost 40% of our youth are there as a result of a probation violation.
Yeah, which is pretty typical. It runs about, it's usually about 40%. So
40, 45, yeah.
yeah. The kids are coming in with, and you guys have seen this slide before, but that pie chart. Robbery continues to be the #1 reason. Gun charges follow that. Assaults and domestic assaults following that. Terroristic threats. Receiving stolen property, so on. Admissions by race. We're forecasting that at the end of this year, we will have admitted 455. We're forecasting that we're going to admit 920 kids. That's what we're anticipating through the end of December. And of that 920, 455 would be African American. That's 49% of our admissions. Caucasian, 222. That's 24% of our admissions. Hispanic/Mexican is 199, or 22% of our admissions. Native Americans, 25, 3% of our admissions. Asians, 19, 2% of our admissions.
Do that number again?
Yes, sir.
We got 425 African American, 222 white. Here, let's take this. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. home program, we're anticipating that we're going to have 154 admissions. That's down from 159 last year, up from 137 in 2016. And of the 154, we're anticipating 65 will be will successfully complete. We're meeting, I think, on December 2nd with probation to discuss any opportunities that might be out there that we have not taken advantage of, that would allow more kids to participate in that program. We're on track to for the kids to earn 893 credits this year, and that's the most credits that we've ever awarded from the youth center since we've been tracking that number. So we're really pleased with that. 893 full credits and 136 partial credits. The kids that come in with individual educational plans, and I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold here, but we're forecasting that 151 of those youth will have come into the youth center by the end of December, and of the 151, 104 of those would have been here previously. So that's about a 70% rate of recidivism just for that group specifically. And that is my report this morning.
So, let me ask you, okay, so I was in a meeting with the opiate superintendent, and she, knows her intent to have a good relationship in respects to like they did in Philadelphia about when kids are in there and making sure that connection is still there. But I guess at some point I'm going to follow up with her, and I guess is the axe. I mean, I told her I don't see the issue with that. We work with that on that connection piece, but I guess I've heard this enough. I guess is the axe then for her to look at this IEP thing?
I think definitely, and I think it fits in with the DNC issue too.
Okay.
Yeah, we see upwards of 80% African American males in this IEP group.
Yep.
So on a monthly basis, and of course we're tracking that data by certainly school district as well as each individual school, when that youth had been there before and what was the previous charge that brought them there. What we found through October of this year is that half of the youth who are that come into detention with the IEP, half of them are in fact on probation. So, and many of them, I mean, most of them are coming in on a probation violation as opposed to a new charge for IEP students.
So is the IEP kid, is that a correlation between special ed?
It is. That's the correlation. Mm-hmm. IEP students are those students in special education. And we also see that most of those, there are accommodations that address IEPs. What is the accommodation? Is it a learning? Is it a behavioral? Is it a social? And in many cases, we're finding it's behavioral, or is the accommodation need for those youth who are coming into detention.
So behavior is a broad stretch of anxiety, depression. That's a big matter.
Yes.
That's the challenge. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Thanks. Oh, I know that. So I'm planning on the 11th. You want to be on the agenda?
Oh, okay. I thought it was 18th at that time.
Yeah, I would like for the last meeting of the year to be a little lighter.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so plan for they do the heavy work before. So,
We can keep it light on the 18th.
We'll do our part.
Sean.
I do not have a data report to hand out today. I'm just gonna give a broad update. Our numbers are trending the same as far as referrals, both on the delinquency side and on the truancy side. As a matter of fact, we hit 265 truancies on the exact same date last year and this year. So, and that's all districts again, a lot of times people think OPS, but it's all districts in the Douglas County area. we've just completed phase 1 of our 2-year evaluation process, that theory of change evaluation, and so those evaluators,
Phase what?
phase 1 of the 2-year process, really identifying what is the purpose of the JAC, what outcomes do we need to meet to show the impact of the JAC. Those were all the things that were determined in phase 1, and I can't remember what date they said they'd be prepared to present to the board, but as, right after the first of the year, they could present that, whenever that's convenient. And then, we've also, I've mentioned here that we've participated in some research projects with the Juvenile Justice Institute. One of those is about to be published. They did a victimization study, basically looked at our data over a 5-year range, and were able to show that kids are recidivating more often and quicker if they have known victimization. So if they have any kind of abuse, neglect, criminal victimization, and then they also looked at the mental health factors around that, as well as their risk factors. So the YLS was taken into account. So that's a pretty big study that as soon as they get the publishing rights to that, whatever that means, then they'll be able to present, and they can present 2 things. The risk needs responsivity study they've been working on for us, which shows that when you assess youth for their needs and match services to meet those needs, then those youth have better outcomes, that they do not recidivate at all or as often. So they would probably right around January or February also be able to present, so we have kind of some findings to be able to bring to the board or any OYS or any community groups that would like to see that. And, the only other thing was, we received 112 applications for our open specialist position. And so we'll be interviewing, I believe, 12 people for that position.
I'm just curious, I mean, every job in the county, we can't find enough people to apply for, but that seems like an aberration.
I don't know, I mean, I've had, it gets really depends on the position, because there's some positions where I had
Is that right?
lots of people
All right.
apply.
Interesting.
And then others,
Okay.
not so much. I think the higher up the food chain you go, some of those positions like 911 director, corrections director, I mean, those are kind of niche jobs that are, people just don't want to move. They've already got a good job there. Then some more of the line jobs. There's a lot of applications.
Okay.
A lot of those positions.
Well, good.
And there's, for our positions, there's such a mix of folks who are just graduating college, all the way up to folks with PhDs.
Okay,
It's quite a mix
all right,
of folks.
thank you.
Okay. Jeanette?
Okay, this Thursday at 8:30 a.m. in the Barbara Wentz Community Engagement Center at UNO is the community-based aid discussion and hopefully finalization of the recommendations to go before the board for 2019-2020 fiscal year. Community-based aid, again, that's this Thursday, that's open meeting, everyone's welcome to
When you
come.
say this Thursday, do you mean tomorrow?
Tomorrow's
2 days.
tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah.
I'm still
This
screwed
week.
up on my dates. Okay.
The holiday messed everybody.
Not playing a football game on Friday, I've been a day off from it ever since then. Okay, so day after tomorrow you're talking about?
Yeah,
Thank
yep, 8:30 at UNO, at the Community Engagement Center, room 209. So that, hopefully will be a really good meeting and move forward with the grant. I don't wanna step on Carrie's toes if you have anything to add about community-based aid. There's lots of processes that have to happen after that, to get approved and sent off to the Crime Commission. Another piece for the Crime Commission we're working on is the Juvenile Justice Community Comprehensive Plan. Had some revisions from the Crime Commission that they'd like to see, so we're working on that with partners and getting that revamped, and then that will probably, Chris, it's on our exec team agenda tomorrow to talk about too, the process to get that, your signature on that again to resubmit to the Crime Commission. I think we have till the end of December for that piece to get turned in. The LGBTQ capstone group that went well, the group was comprised of probation, DCYC, OYS, Juvenile Assessment Center, Promise Ship, Judge Circovich, and the CEO from Black and Pink. Was the team from Douglas County went to that a week before you guys, or 2 weeks before you guys went to the DMC in, I think October? Was that October? Yeah, October.
November.
And we came up with our capstone. We had 5 pieces on there on the draft capstone that went to Georgetown prior to us going there. After we went there to this week of intense immersion, honestly, a lot of education, brand new information, really was inspiring, but yet depressing at the same time to really understand that this population is just kind of somewhat, I don't know, not neglected, but not really recognized specifically, and national presenters from all over and policymakers. So we came back and reduced that 5-pronged approach that we thought we were gonna do for the capstone down to 2, and then a 2.1 on top of that, because it was gonna be overwhelming to try and move those things forward. So we're gonna focus on training, policy development, and then data is gonna be the background to all of that to help drive those and formulate those. And currently DCYC, based from the PREA data that was shared with us that you guys are already collecting, we'll be able to use some of that. And then the JAC, probation, and Promise Ship will start collecting data too. Hopefully around January 1st, so we'll be able to then move training, policy, those things forward based on actual information as opposed to assumptions or whatever we have regarding that population within our systems. Let's see, and the last thing is our Juvenile Justice Council. We have 6 former youth involved in the juvenile justice system participating in that right now. They are really, really energized. We thought we'd meet once a month with them, and they want to meet every other month, and they're holding themselves to that. And then we started with, okay, what are some bylaws or processes you guys want to hold yourselves accountable to? You know, and we're thinking like, okay, everybody, you know, respect, don't interrupt, let people talk, you know, those kind of things. And right out of the gate, they came up with, you can't reoffend. You have to watch your social media posts. I mean, they were laying the law down with each other. Like, this is what you need to do. What's we talk about in this room stays in this room. Respecting each other. You need to show up to X amount of meetings. So they really set the bar high for themselves. And so they're starting with that. They had their 3rd meeting last night. So at any rate, that's where they're going, and they're heavily recruiting more members to participate in getting the word out. So that's an exciting piece that's inspiring to hear that. Then there's going to be, hopefully in January-ish, we're trying to kick off a families council also, that will be family members, comprised of family members who have had youth there, or potentially themselves, but they're older than the age of 25. The youth council is 19 to 25. So if they're older than 25, they've had experience and or they have family members, their youth, their kids being touched by the system, they will then, we'll start that group up. There was a little bit of tension between having this youth council kind of have the adults in the room, and the youth were very adamant about, no, they wanted their own group without their parents in the room, basically. So we said, okay, then that's how we're gonna roll. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see if the parents, the families one actually has the same level of accountability that the youth do. But I was impressed just by that. And their passion, they want to meet more than once a month, so, and they're showing up.
So they're meeting twice a month?
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause initially you said every other month, but I think.
Oh, I meant every other week, I'm sorry.
Every other week.
Yeah, every other week, yeah, twice a month. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, any questions?
So what time do they meet?
5 to 7:30.
And where are they meeting at?
We've had one location was north, and then they decided, again, kind of this accountability piece, that lent more credibility to a couple of the members that it was in North Omaha. so they wanted a more neutral location to make the power around the table equitable. And so now that we're meeting at UNO, at the Community Engagement
And
Center.
are you providing an incentive for them to come, such as sweet or donut or a meal or a sandwich?
Pizza,
Good.
and then,
That, I was hoping you would.
well, yeah, well, staff's there, so we have to have. Yeah, yeah, food and then a gift card
Good.
for participating, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They're recruiting, but they're also trying to keep it kinda close to the vest till they get their expectations solidified. They talked about having, like a president and a treasurer and, you know, a secretary and all these kind of things, and then they decided no, because no one is more important around the table than anybody else, and we don't wanna have, labels like that, so it's a level playing field.
Have they already done a mission statement?
Nope, not yet, not that I've seen, yeah. That may come out of this as they're rolling through their, yeah, processes, so.
Cool.
Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other business out there? All right, so this will be, like I said, the December, January, so likely, first meeting start back in February, because of where it falls on the second, so, I'll see you all then, and I wish you all Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I've seen that already, right? See you next
You know,
year.
it's been about a month.